Free online visit, go to this exclusive address, forhims.com. That's forhims.com/joy for your free online visit. forhims.com/joy.
97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
When you call most roofing companies, all you'll hear is, you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming. At Fleming Roofing and Restoration, we're focused on your needs, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement. Folks around here trusted Fleming since 1965 for all their residential and commercial roofing needs. And as the area's storm damage experts, Fleming knows all the ins and outs of the insurance claims process. Log on FlemingHSV.com to schedule your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
Have you ever turned your back on God? Have you ever absolutely known the right thing to do and just turned around and walked away in disobedience? I know that I have. Aren't we thankful for our great and merciful God who loves us and forgives us and remembers our sin no more? I'm so thankful that His mercies are fresh every day. I need that, and I suspect you do too. Hey, I'm John Dees, pastor of Cross Point Church, and if you're looking for a church home, come see us. We're smack dab across the street from the YMCA in Madison, and check us out at cpcfamily.org.
Looking for future leaders we can trust and believe in? Look no further than the high school student athletes right here in Alabama. High school sports teach young people how to be effective leaders. It begins by making their grades and being on time for practice. It includes learning to listen, following directions, accepting responsibility, being a good role model. And it's about respect for officials, opponents, the rules, and each other. The result? It transcends sports. It gives us hope for the future. High school sports. There's so much more than just a game. This message presented by the Alabama High School Athletic Association and the Alabama High School Athletic Directors and Coaches Association.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting. A teenager. Learning the lingo.
Today I'm going to help parents translate teen slang. Now, when a teen says something is on fleek, it's exactly like saying, that's rad. It simply means that something is awesome or cool. Another one is totes. It's exactly like saying totally, just shorter. As in, I totes love going to the mall with Becca. Another word you might hear is jelly. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will think you're, rad, just the same. To learn more, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Hey, Zone listeners, Jonathan Dunwoody, Minuteman Press here. Do you or someone you know ever have printing needs, such as full-color sports program booklets, church programs, flyers, brochures, business cards, rack cards, signage, and even promotional products? Since opening here in 2008, we've been blessed to help out thousands of businesses across North Alabama grow with their printing needs. Come by and we'd love to help you too. We're located at 2250 Sparkman Drive, where the North Parkway meets Sparkman Drive, right next to the Super Walmart. Minuteman Press, we're not just putting ink on paper, we're building relationships.
Witness a new generation of superstars.
The Moulton, one of the best in the land.
Take flight.
I love Jalen Suggs. He has an NBA-type basketball IQ.
Their determination has led them to one destination.
This is Paul Feinbaum. That'll do it for me today. Coming up next, The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. This hour is brought to you by Woody Anderson Ford, Alabama's F-150 Superstore. Welcome to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline, 256-576-4977.
That's how I roll. And I'm not going to drink and drive anymore.
That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Wes and Steve.
Pleasant, good Wednesday evening to you. We made it to the showroom. Along with Wes Neighbors, Steve Moulton here with you. A full show in store for you. It's always good to be on campus here at Woody Anderson Ford. How are you, Wes?
Doing good. It's great to be here in the showroom, except for the truck in front of us. But other than that, I'm kidding. Awesome. That's a rambling wreck from Georgia Tech there, right?
You used to be a member of the SEC.
Yes, right.
And
who knows?
Yeah, really. Who does know?
I mean, you were looking at rooftops. That's what they look at, right?
There's a lot in the Atlanta metropolitan area. Anyway, we're live here at Woody Anderson Ford. If you're in the market for a new or used vehicle, they can hook you up right here. The Bronco is here, and you can book your Bronco online at woodyAndersonFord.com. If you'd like to participate, sooner would be more optimal rather than later. We've got a full show on tap for you. We're also going to so last week, I mentioned yesterday, we've got a number of interviews in the can from SEC Media Days. We played one yesterday. We're going to play another one today, another one up for tomorrow as well. And I've even got another interview set for Friday, which will feature the play-by-play voice of the Miami Hurricanes, as he was
very optimistic.
Yes, very optimistic. But tonight, Chuck Oliver, our sit-down conversation with Chuck will come up around 6:30, but
he's on 12 to 2 here every day.
Correct. Later on, in hour number 2, Mike Pitts is going to join us, a former first-round draft pick of the Atlanta Falcons, and he is going to come on to discuss the Wishbone Boys project that will be released in the month of August, which, by the way, happens Sunday, August, as we whittle away the days in which we will no longer have football here in 2021 in between that national championship game or the Super Bowl, whichever you may prefer to point out, be it the Alabama Crimson Tide or the Tampa Bay Buccaneers winning to close out the 2020 campaign. And later on here in hour number 1, he is a former ESPN analyst and now getting ready to come out with a book in regards to the Alabama Crimson Tide. In fact, he's doing a bunch of videos right now. It's Brad Edwards who's going to join us here. I'll give you one just to see how well you do with this question, Wes.
What was the last game Alabama won after trailing in the fourth quarter? Bama hasn't even trailed in the second half very often over the last 5 seasons, so you won't have to go too far back in your memory bank. Give it a few more seconds, and if the answer hasn't come to you, then press pause to get more time to think.
2nd and 26.
Ready for the answer? It was the 2018 SEC Championship game. You may recall that Bama was trailing Georgia 28-21 in the fourth quarter when Jalen Hurts replaced an injured Tua Tagovailoa and led the Tide to 2 fourth-quarter touchdowns
I forgot about
and a 35-28 victory.
Not really. I just like saying
Alabama has trailed in the fourth
26.
quarter only 3 times since then and never trailed in the fourth quarter of any game last season. But once again, it's not about the results. It's about the process.
So that is Brad Edwards. He is releasing these little videos with some Bama trivia each day, counting up to the regular season starting for Alabama.
They kind of, the music behind it kind of sounds like some of my instructional instructional things for the life insurance that I have.
Oh, do they?
In fact, I'm going to call my guy and make sure they're not, Brad might have to pay us a fee or something. Kidding.
Also, later on tonight, you'll hear the Atlanta Braves try to pick up another game on the New York Mets. I was on the Zoom last night after the Braves pounding of the Mets, and the Braves winners 12-5 was that final score. Austin Riley ended up with a grand slam and a 2-run home run as well. So 6 RBIs for the Braves third baseman. Here's my little back and forth with the Braves skipper last night.
Snit, is it a little maddening not knowing what the offensive production is not as consistent as, you just don't know what you're going to get from game to game?
No, it's not maddening. I mean, it's, you're going to run into some good pitching that is going to neutralize, obviously, good offense. And our guys are going to fight. They're going to grind at bats. And we're going to score enough most nights. So, no, I'm you know what? It's not maddening ever with this group because these guys, they work hard, they care, they just the way they go about it. I can't be like that with these guys, man. I'm right there with them and pulling for each and every one of them.
That is Brian Snitker. What?
You're such Debbie Downer with your questions to the Braves. I mean, Steve, do you have a problem? Is it maddening for you?
Yes, it is. Yes. Well, I will have you know there was 2 different Braves writers that sent me messages when I asked that question, said, can we just feed you questions that we really want to have answered?
Yeah,
because they can't do it because they're there on a daily basis.
Debbie, God, come on.
Braves look to
creep 500.
Creep a little closer. Yeah, they're a game under 500. Again, they're 50-51 heading down the stretch.
It isn't the stretch, by the way. It's not even close to stretch.
Yeah, there's about 60 games left now.
That's not the stretch, Steve.
This was
the stretch would be like 20, 25 games.
Essentially, they are getting ready to play right now what we had the entire year last year, the 60 games.
What does that have to do with anything? The last year doesn't have anything to do with this year.
No, absolutely not.
Debbie.
There is a Jimmy Brumbaugh sighting. You remember him? The last time we remember Jimmy Brumbaugh, he was walking off the field after being fired.
Jimmy Brumbaugh was a good player
at the University of Tennessee under then head coach Jeremy Pruitt. He has landed at the University of Oregon, and he is there as an analyst. And Mario Cristobal was asked about a pair of analysts, Coach Nick Tooth, who's also a special teams analyst that has hopped on, but Coach Cristobal was asked about Coach Brumbaugh as well, being a defensive analyst.
I appreciate you mentioning that because those guys, we're always looking to add brain power, manpower, the ability to teach better, to create teaching progressions, off-field regimentation, off-season regimentation, film study processes during the year. Anything an analyst is allowed to do, we want to increase that and make it better. To have a guy that knows Tim's system, that has done it before, is of extreme value. As a coordinator, you always want to surround a coordinator with guys that are familiar with what he does to try to give him the best chance for success. And then you look at the Pete Jenkins, D-line coaching tree. Coach Brumbaugh is one of those guys that, stands out as one of those premier guys. So Joe Salaveo, we feel is the best in the country of what he does, and to supplement our defensive staff and our special team staff with guys like Coach Toth and guys like Coach Brumbaugh makes us a stronger staff, makes us a better staff, and gives us a better chance to be successful on defense and on special teams.
That is Mario Cristobal, as the Ducks have won back-to-back Pac-12 championships entering into the 2021 campaign, and everybody's circling that Week 2 matchup when they travel to Columbus, Ohio, to take on OHIO.
So what about, are they favored this year, or is it?
They are favored. They are favored indeed to, at least according to the media, take that for what it's worth.
Yeah.
But that is what is on deck for Oregon, as they did bring back a lot. There are, I think, 22 super seniors on this Oregon football team, and it's a lot on the offensive and defensive line. And so I listened to the entire 30-minute press conference for Mario Cristobal, and he just kept touting how strong both lines are heading into the season. So we'll see what happens here for Mario Cristobal up there in Eugene. There is also a report out of The Athletic, and I don't know how real it is, but it garnered some attention on PTI about 20 minutes ago about certain conferences, the ACC, but the Big 12 seems to be championing a delay of the college football playoff expansion. And to expound a thought or two, we yield to Mr. Tony about the possibility of the college football playoff expansion being delayed simply because of the fact that Texas and Oklahoma are punting to the SEC.
If they are actually going to limit the amount of teams in the playoff, which will necessarily limit the amount of money they're going to get, if they do that, they should be fired immediately.
Yeah, Bob Bowlesby, who is the commissioner of the Big 12, one of the great names in human history given his profession, that guy, Tony, had no idea Greg Sankey was plotting this while they were in discussions as recently as weeks ago. So I understand why Bob Bowlesby feels like he needs to stomp his feet and threaten to derail the money train for everybody, because that guy had his lunch taken from him. No way around that. But you are absolutely right insofar as everybody, I think, also realizes the status quo financially is not going to work for everybody else that is not the SEC. The SEC, weirdly, is the best positioned big picture of anybody. Everyone else needs to eat off of their plate, and the way you do that necessarily involves a 12-team playoff.
So again and again and again, conferences are done. The NCAA is
Meaningless.
done. There's going to be one giant conference with between 40 and 60 schools. It's going to be subdivided geographically. It's going to be a cash cow. Can I make myself any clearer? I'm mourn the end of conferences. You know, I loved conferences, but you know what? I mourn the end of the times when I used to have to get up to change the channel, but I've adjusted. I've adjusted.
I mourn the fact that I have to listen to that idiot.
Do you buy that? No, neither do I. No. That there's going to be one big conference just divided up.
Why? No. I think that everybody's grasping for straws because they got caught
with their pants down.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they're, you know, the first guy's trying to say that Oklahoma, that he pulled one over their eyes. I don't think they were talking about this months and months ago when they announced the 12-team playoff. I think this has come up in the last month again. Now, they flirted with each other several years ago. Texas is just trying to do anything to be relevant. I mean, that's all about, and they have big, and they can come, and they're thinking this is going to help their recruiting. I don't think recruiting is their problem. I think development and maybe recruiting, but they get pretty much who they want. And anybody, they might lose one or two, but there's two or three, but they just have picked the wrong ones. They have.
Yeah. There's no other way to say it.
And they're so just, we're Texas, you should come here because we're Texas.
Hook 'em.
I mean, they were going to ban the putting the horns down sign.
Yeah. Horns down would draw a penalty.
That is the craziest thing ever.
Do you think they'll actually enforce that this year?
Who knows?
After all that hubbub a couple of weeks ago?
Who knows? I don't know.
What do you bet maybe a band or two actually does a formation of the downward horns? I don't know. We'll see. 256-576-4977 is the telephone number as we're live here at Woody Anderson Ford. One other bit of audio came from First Take this morning as I guess there's just no NFL to talk about because Marcus Spears ended up talking about the NIL in regards to how it's going to change college football. But then it also kind of stumbled on the advantage of the brand at Alabama.
Winning the championships and LSU and Clemson. And when you think about all of the schools that's been at the top, this has always been a part of the recruiting tactic. But they've just been sold on going to the NFL, getting a great education and the support from the people around these institutions. When you think about Alabama, that's the professional team in Alabama. There is nothing else. There's the University of Alabama football, and they've been doing a tremendous job at doing
Alabama.
Right, and like doing what they're doing. So the bottom line is, when you look at how the NIL is going to impact college football, it absolutely will. But for these schools that's been up here at the top tier, they've already been selling these same ideas. They just couldn't turn it in, monetize it while these guys have been in college. So
I want Saban to do that at every press conference. Give a little subliminal recruiting pitch in every press conference. I love it.
And in particular, let me get this in. When you look at the Bryce Young and the endorsements, and you talk about Nick Saban putting that olive branch out there and talking about the cachet of Alabama, why in the hell do you think Texas and Oklahoma want to go to the SEC, man? Why? Why y'all think Texas and Oklahoma want to lead the Big 12 where they the dominant dogs and go to the SEC? Because it's financially great to be a part of the Southeastern Conference. Not only that, you'll be able to recruit in that same pool that those guys are already in. So is the NIL problematic for recruiting? Hell no, because they've been recruiting off this same idea for the last 20 years.
That is Marcus Spears.
Oh, Marcus fired up. I like it.
Brandon on Facebook asks us, how big do you think the conference realignment affects the college football playoff, and who gets selected?
Say that again now.
How big do you think the conference realignment affects college football playoff, and who gets selected?
Well, I think it depends on how they do it. I mean, there's so many more questions than answers when you come to that, because they do a 12-man playoff, there could be 4 or 5 teams get in, depending on what they do outside the conference. Playing outside the conference is still going to be important. This first game this year is so important. If Clemson beats Georgia and how they win, or Georgia beats Clemson, then if Georgia beats Clemson and Clemson wins that conference, then if Georgia has one loss, they're getting in, more than likely. Yep, yep. I think that these games matter the most to me early in the season, and then during the middle of the season, Oregon playing Ohio State, defines a lot of things. Even if Oregon beats Ohio State and loses 5 games, it helps the conference for those teams that beat Oregon. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So those are the type games that I love, are the interconference games. I wish, I think there ought to be 2.
Oregon, Ohio State.
Yeah, it'll be two every year. Every team should play one in the beginning and one at the, midway or halfway, or and then I believe in having that the game that helps these schools have teams and helps your younger players develop, and and maybe some walk-ons get to play in the game, and that means so much to everyone. So I get all that, and I see it from a little different, because some of the guys that I saw play, they played their 6 plays in their career, and those 6 plays mean more to them than life itself. It's amazing. And so I kind of see that from that, and they
everything
work so hard.
they sacrificed.
Yes.
Yeah,
I wouldn't have done it. I say that all the time. I don't know how they did.
I have on purpose not played audio from Aaron Rodgers, who had about a 25-minute press conference about poor him up in Green Bay.
Man,
do you want to hear from Aaron Rodgers?
No,
okay.
No.
All right. Yeah, then let's go out to the breezeway, shall we? Rat Cephas is on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline.
I think that Aaron Rodgers needs to spend some time in the breezeway. Might appreciate life a little more. Don't you, Rat Cephas?
Yes. I'm I'm not a big Green Bay fan, but
Yeah,
I'm
you're a Steeler guy.
And I think Ben Roethlisberger's going to have a big year.
Well, he's a big guy.
Needs to stay healthy.
Yeah. He doesn't move like he used to, Rat Cephas.
I was just wondering, what about this deal with Simone Biles, the gymnast?
Bowed out.
She's just
Her team the team ended up with a silver medal.
You know, she's hurt. She's hurt. I mean, yeah. And
I don't think she was hurt. Well,
you don't.
It was mental.
She was limping. I saw her limping. Her ankle was hurt. Now, maybe she's not as mentally tough as some people. Some people play hurt. Some people don't. I don't know. I mean, I don't know enough about it. I just saw what I saw on TV a little bit. I was just walking by, and it heard something about it, so I looked up at it last night. You know, everybody's talking about it yesterday, and she looked like she was limping to me. I mean, and then they played Carrie Shrug, I guess, the one that hurt her ankle and went and did it again. But
I
I
remember that.
But some people can play hurt. Some people can't. Maybe she thought she'd hurt her team more than she'd help. I don't know. I mean,
that's exactly what she said.
Yeah, so
she thought she would hurt the team.
I'm not going to get on. Listen, I don't like all the kneeling. I'll tell you that right off. I believe that if there's better ways to show that than and there are different things they can do for that. I don't like all the people getting on each other about stupid stuff. The wokeness. I'm not. I don't get it. It's like the catch me. I mean. And if I had I guarantee I wouldn't be doing a show if anybody had a video of me in college. I mean, I'd probably be in jail anyway. But I've never been arrested, so knock on wood. But
if you're with me,
anyway. But the point being, I can't judge. I'm not. It seems to me this is people getting on her unnecessarily, in my opinion, because I can't judge her. If she's hurt, she's hurt, right? And only her.
I'm not getting on her.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if you're asking me for my opinion.
Yeah.
But I don't like all this other stuff, and I wish people, if they don't want to compete for their country, they don't like their country, don't compete for them. But you should like who you compete for, right? I mean,
you would think.
Anyway. I'm for everybody winning that has on the American flag, and I pull for, if the American's not in it, I'll pull for whoever I think that's trying the hardest. Like I was pulling for that Great Britain guy in the one thing I watched for an hour. The only bike race I ever watched for over.
You didn't watch any swimming last night? Americans were in front at the beginning of 4x4, and then
they got beat.
They ended up in fifth.
But they've been winning
a
bunch of races.
Yeah.
So
Great Britain ended up with the gold medal.
You remember Eddie the Eagle?
I do remember Eddie the Eagle. He's after everybody's heart.
He's just lucky he's still alive.
Yeah. Well, it kind of reminds me of a guy that used to live in New Hope out there that used to break dance off bars. You gotta be
wrestle
careful.
bears.
Yeah, wrestle bears.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I had to buy the bar a few rounds.
How much did that cost you? Do you remember?
About $30.
Yeah, it wasn't probably with 10 people there.
I come in on Monday, and say, "Am I barred?" No, that's you not barred. You. As long as you pay your tab.
You're not barred as long as you pay your tab.
That's right.
Words to live by Rat Cephas.
So have you watched a lot of the Olympics? Rat Cephas, you watched a lot of it?
I didn't hear that last one.
Have you watched a lot of the Olympics?
Quite a bit of it, yeah.
What about you,
I
Steve?
got some crazy hours. I can get up any time of the day or night.
I was trying to watch the basketball game last night, but you had to pay for it on Peacock, so I did not stay up to watch
Did they win?
Yeah, they beat Iran. Yes, they beat Iran. I think 120-66.
Well, what is the deal with they're on that coach?
Popovich?
Yeah, the players are.
Yeah. All right, Rat Cephas, we're right up against it, brother.
All right. Y'all take
Appreciate
care.
the phone call. If you have followed this show for a number of years, we hope you have. You know, I really enjoy listening to certain press conferences, one of which happened yesterday.
The Pirate?
Bill Belichick.
Oh, Belichick.
That happened yesterday, and a question was asked.
He's the emperor, right? He's the emperor from
about the quarterback competition heading into fall camp.
Now Stidham's hurt, right? He had surgery
between Cam and Mac.
Yeah, because Stidham's out.
Yeah, they do have Hoyer.
Hoyer now, yeah.
Hoyer's there. We'll play that audio for you on the other side as we're live here at Woody Anderson Ford. Come on by. We'll be right back.
You're listening to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Hi, everybody. Eli Gold here. Right now, indoor air quality occupies top-of-mind awareness for families and business owners. Rick Smith and the trusted professionals at Environmental Comfort Systems can take care of your indoor air quality concerns with their state-of-the-art indoor air quality solutions. Environmental Comfort's indoor air quality systems remove 99.9% of airborne contaminants so you and your family can breathe clean, fresh air. If anyone in your family suffers from allergies, or if you just want the security of knowing the air you breathe inside your home is free from viruses, bacteria, pet dander, dust, and odors, Environmental Comfort Systems are the professionals to call. Environmental Comfort also carries state-of-the-art, high-efficiency comfort systems that increase home comfort, keep humidity in check, and help you save money on your energy bills. Give my friend Rick a call or visit them online at envcomfort.com and breathe cleaner air today. Environmental Comfort Systems, Alabama license number 92314.
Tom Luganbill here for Woody Anderson Ford. When I was in the Tennessee Valley, one of the things that impressed me the most was the quality of the people. People like Bobby White and his team at Woody Anderson Ford. And now you can experience the tremendous new service lanes and showroom at Woody Anderson Ford, at Jordan and Sparkman, or just stop by for breakfast or lunch at Henry's Mustang Cafe. And in Madison, visit Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, just south of 72. Like a great college football tradition, always there, Woody Anderson Ford.
TOC Sports has been there for you. Now, you're probably asking yourself, what does that mean? It means for more than 20 years, Alabama's largest orthopedic group has been there providing coverage and care to more schools and student athletes in the Tennessee Valley than any other group. It means whether you are the star football player, the all-region volleyball ace, or someone who hurt their knee in a weekend pickup basketball game, TOC Sports physicians are proud to have the opportunity to care for all your orthopedic needs. It means for parents, coaches, athletes, desk jockeys, or even weekend warriors, TOC Sports physicians continue to meet and exceed the orthopedic and sports medicine needs of our community. But most importantly, during these challenging times, we're here for you now, and will continue to be here. So as long as there are players on the field, games to be played, and contests to be won, the orthopedic specialists from TOC Sports will be ready to help. We don't know what the future holds, but you can count on the TOC Sports team to stay committed to you, so you can stay in the game. Call 256-539-2728 today and ask to see a TOC Sports physician. Check them out online, also Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
This is Wes Neighbors sitting here with Ann Adams. And I understand you have some exciting news.
Yes, Wes, I do. Berkshire Hathaway Home Services was just recognized in the 30th annual Harris Poll Equitrin as the Real Estate Agency Brand of the Year and the most trusted real estate brand.
That is awesome news, Ann. You know, great companies in Huntsville, Alabama, winning awards is what we want. Is it a great time to list your home?
Yes, it is. The inventory is low and the market is heating up.
And I understand you're also looking for agents.
I am. We are so busy, Wes, we need agents to keep up with the demand.
Ann Adams and Rise Real Estate has been doing business in North Alabama for the last 35 years. If you want to do business with someone you can trust, she has been writing contracts since she was 9 years old. Call Ann today at 256-337-2625.
Chad, cue the cheesy Italian music.
So you're in charge of the dinner spot, and the family is a hard group to please. Dad wants award-winning 21-day age certified Angus beef. Mom craves authentic Italian food like great-grandma. Sissy pretty much won't eat anything but fresh seafood. And old life of the party, Uncle Walter, likes to enjoy a cigar after dinner with some live local entertainment and some killer cocktails. So you think you're in a pickle? Well, you're not. Relax. I'm Tom Chapman, chef at Nick's Ristorante at 10300 Bailey Cove Road, just south of Weatherly. We have all that and more. Our friendly and helpful staff is eager to help you Tuesday through Saturday, starting at 5. So, corral that crazy crew of yours and give us a call at 256-489-8280 or tell them to check us out at nicksristorante.com. I promise you, the gang will all think you're a culinary cruise director of awesomeness if you take them all to Nick's. See you soon. Ciao. Okay, Chad, kill that music.
Nick's is for patrons 19 or older.
This segment of The Drive is brought to you by Woody Anderson Ford, located online at woodyAndersonFord.com with 2 locations, Hughes Road in Madison and Jordan Lane in Huntsville.
The pride of Pell City, Alabama is about 30 minutes away. Mike Pitts going to join us. Talk a little Wishbone Boys with the former Crimson Tide, former Atlanta Falcon, former Philadelphia Eagle, and former New England Patriot, which gives me the pivot to Bill Belichick. Question and answer. 2 questions, 2 answers from Coach Belichick about the quarterback position.
Will there be an open competition for starting quarterback during this training camp?
Yeah, as I said, every one of us has to go out and establish our level of performance in whatever our role or capacity is. So it's a new season. We've done some things in the spring, but this is really the start of football season in terms of the team building part here in training camp. So we all have a lot of work to do. That includes all of us. So until we go out and do anything, then it's pretty much of a clean slate.
So a clean slate, including the quarterback situation as well?
Including the coaches and all the players.
I mean, he just answered the question. I mean, that wasn't – I don't get these guys.
The reporter was wanting to say, yes, we've got a quarterback competition.
Of course. He said, everybody's competing. That's the fact. And you don't show up for camp 1 year, and you'll be gone, especially there. It's going to be interesting to me if they ever recover from losing Brady. I mean, it's obvious they made a huge error.
Yeah.
I was shocked when they made it, but I was.
Just let him go.
Yeah, but I don't think they had a choice, really. I think that they really messed up by not giving them enough playmakers the last 2 years he was there. I mean, that year they won the Super Bowl. They did
Which
it
one?
with
I mean,
the one we went to.
Okay.
They did that with smoke and mirrors. Tom Brady won that for them. And and then the last year he looked like his arm was hurting him. He really did. And maybe that's what they thought too. But
we found out from Scott Zolak that he didn't buy into that hurt arm theory. Remember when?
No, yeah.
Let's squeeze in Mark. We're about 10 minutes away from Brad Edwards joining us on a Wednesday. How are you, Mark?
Hey, doing real well, guys. Thanks for taking my call. I've been on the road all day. Started in Mobile, and I'm almost to Huntsville. So
does that mean your vacation's over?
No, I had an interview down there, and down in Satsuma. So we'll see. That's down near. You got Chickasaw, Satsuma, Mobile, all right there. A bunch of little city school systems that formed out of Baldwin County, broke off. So,
interesting.
Anyway, yeah, but I've been hearing all day a third team, and you may have already covered this. I'm just now getting in where I can hear the station. Is Bomb was reporting that not only Texas and Oklahoma, but the third team that ESPN sort of now being accused of helping the SEC, I guess is how they're phrasing it, is Baylor. Have y'all heard that?
No.
Why would they bring? How could they bring 3 teams in? Wouldn't they have to bring in even teams?
I mean, I don't know. I don't know any of. I mean, it's getting more.
Where did you hear this? I've been.
I mean, most of the coaches
listening
at Baylor.
You said it was on Feinbaum. Was Paul saying this?
Yeah.
Or
just like I was in between. Like you can pick up this station about Coleman.
Right.
65, 97.7. So about 5:10 today I'd say around Gardendale. I was listening and heard Paul say that it was news broke. I guess I don't know who was breaking it, but that there was an injunction. I don't know, maybe a big one of the conferences, and that there was a third team now surfaced that they're really trying to get after the SEC commissioner and some home cooking for the SEC and the third team that just has not been publicly hadn't gotten the attention, has been sort of real quiet, and that's the Baylor Bears. So of course I've been to a Baylor game. I like Baylor. I'd say bring them too.
Yeah, I don't think Baylor will be.
I don't know.
In the Southeastern Conference.
I'm not reading anything about it right now. But
yeah,
I think Vanderbilt would go out and Baylor would come in out of that. Sorry. No, I mean Baylor. They're high academics too.
Yeah.
So anyway, but no, seriously, they were just saying that's the sort of the breaking news of the hour is that's the word. And I don't know if that Bomb, he normally, he likes to stir the pot, but he doesn't normally release stuff like that unless he's got Yahoo Sports, somebody, that, looking into that. So
I see where the Baylor president responded to Texas and Oklahoma's request to join the SEC, but I don't see any.
Yeah, nothing about movement.
Yeah, I don't see anything about movement.
Yeah, that's the deal. I think it's ESPN is who is it? Is it the Big 12? Whichever conference it is.
Big 12.
That's up
now with 8
teams. Got their finger,
got
their thumb in their mouth or whatever. They're belly aching, and I guess they haven't belly ached enough because there was at least discussions. Maybe that was it about Baylor at the table too. So, and those discussions are not over. So, anyway, just again, college football is changing, and talk about a mega conference. Is there any way that anybody can stop Texas and Oklahoma from coming?
Doesn't look like it.
No.
So I saw where the Pac-12 commissioner came out and said something to the effect they need to put on hold the 12-team playoff until we see what this is about. And,
yeah.
And had some disparaging things to say about the Southeastern Conference. I think what they're seeing is the money grab that's really going on is what's happening.
Yeah.
It's a huge money grab for the Southeastern Conference.
I'll get off after this comment. One of the things I heard on the station down further south at the Montgomery market was that the problem that the Pac-10, 12, whatever they are, is, and I kind of agree with them, and I don't like anything about them out there, but I didn't realize it was so jaded that these committee members that were looking at this 12-team playoff, I mean, it was an SEC homer group, and you throw in maybe a Big 10 and a 12, and that's about it.
Mark? Well, I think the issue, Mark, is the SEC has all the power because they have all the money already. So they have to be willing to give up something. And the Pac-12, not so much.
Mark, we are right up against the break. Appreciate the phone call. Okay. Download the app, incidentally, if you get out of our listening area.
Say that, yeah.
Just download that app in your Google Marketplace or your Apple Store, whatever the case may be. Just search 977 ESPN. Brad Edwards set to join us on the other side. We'll be right back.
You're listening to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
It's an amazing time in our industry because things are changing so rapidly. This helps our customers save money while upgrading and improving efficiency.
Liosi Group President Nick Liosi.
One of our largest customers recently upgraded, saved $20,000 a month, and met new government security requirements. With our new human resource software, another customer cut their workflow in half and improved employee morale. We are not just a copier company anymore.
Drake Avenue and at liosigroup.com.
Our customers want best-in-class solutions, so we've added some new vendors like Konica Minolta.
Liosi Group President Nick Liosi.
And our next-level team has added premier automation solutions. We're not here to sell you one product. We're here to help you find the right solution for your specific needs, even if it means we don't sell you anything.
Drake Avenue and at liosigroup.com. Over 50 years of doing the right thing.
We love our pets, and when we need boarding or vet services, we want the best. That's why we chose Paradise Pet Resort and Spa. Everything our pets needed, all in one place. Boarding for both dogs and cats. Doggy daycare, grooming and spa services, web cameras, and top-notch vet care, too. It's a true Paradise Pet Resort for your furry friends, serving all of North Alabama. Find out everything you need to know and book services online at ParadisePetResortandSpa.com. Located in Madison, just off 565 at Wall Triana, behind Cracker Barrel.
This is Wes Neighbors talking to Chris Haygood of Bob Wallace Appliance. Chris, what sets you apart from other appliance dealerships?
Wes, these appliances are going into the most used room in your house, your kitchen. The way we have these appliances displayed, it's easy for you to visualize how they'll look in your home. Wes, what sets us apart is the people. They're well trained. In fact, they live and breathe these appliances. And if you need service, you'll really appreciate our parts department.
Contact Bob Wallace Appliance at 256-533-2121.
SportsMed is the official team physicians of the Rocket City Trash Pandas. And if the pros trust SportsMed, you can too. SportsMed provides every service you might need for complete orthopedic care, specializing in orthopedic surgery, sports medicine, joint replacement, spine surgery, neurosurgery, and podiatry. And they offer their own brace shop, in-house full-body MRI, physical therapy, walk-in clinic, and so much more. 4 locations and on the web at sportsmedalabama.com.
This is Wes Neighbors with Philip with Eagle Insulation, and we have an announcement to make.
Yes, Wes, we are now Eagle Masonry and Insulation. We're still a place to call for your insulation needs, but now we offer masonry services.
What kind of masonry projects can you handle?
Wes, no job is too big, no job is too small. We can do renovations, new construction, outdoor fireplaces, fire pits, brick landscape borders.
Well, when you came out to my house, you did both the insulation and masonry at the same time. You guys did rock for me, you did brick for me, and you insulated my house. That's usually done at the same time that you're building a house.
Absolutely. It really capitalizes on 2 services you need at the same time, and you can get one company to handle both of those.
Philip with Eagle Insulation will come out, do your installation. He'll do your masonry. They do a great job. They guarantee your work. Check out more online at insulatewitheagle.com and schedule your free examination today. 256-755-1556.
Thanks, Wes.
Take your taste buds back in time with a trip to the all-new Bubby's Diner, offering a variety of mouth-watering food, from delicious starters to 50-style diner food and meat and 3 meals, featuring owner and Huntsville native Chris Bubby Belcher's family's homemade recipes. Open for breakfast, lunch, and dinner at 8412 Whitesburg Drive in the former Gibson's Barbecue. And you can enjoy $50 worth of delicious Bubby's Diner food for half price with this week's Zone Deal. On sale this Friday online at 977ESPN.com.
From the WZDX Pinpoint Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Emily Owen. For this Wednesday night, expect a mostly clear sky. Low temperatures will fall into the lower 70s for the overnight. And for your Thursday, expect another sunny and hot afternoon. High temperatures will top out in the upper 90s with heat index values as high as 105 degrees. I'm meteorologist Emily Owen on your home for ESPN Radio 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
This is the only place for Drew DeArmond, Wes Neighbors, and of course, Tom Abraham.
I never met him, but I hear that he's a man of character.
97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
back here at Woody Anderson Ford, along with Wes Neighbors. Steve Moulton back here with you. Mike Pitts scheduled to join us in about 15 minutes' time, but let's head out to the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. We always enjoy our visits with Brad Edwards, formerly of ESPN, and now getting ready to unveil a book about the Crimson Tide as well, and a very informative follow on Twitter, on YouTube, and on Twitter it's J. Brad Edwards. How are you, Brad?
I'm doing great. How are you guys? It's been a while, and seems to be a lot going on in the college football world, even without players on the field.
It really is. This offseason has been unlike any other. I mean, there's stories at every turn, but just for the focus on Alabama, what made you want to focus on? I love your profile on Twitter saying we'll focus on Bama/SEC for at least 2021 season. So you kind of that umbrella is open now, pretty wider than you thought, didn't it?
Yeah, as far as what SEC would entail. Yeah, I mean it's just bizarre what's going on, and I guess if you're in Alabama's situation where you're just on top of the college football world and you figure, Oklahoma and Texas at the moment aren't any threat to you any more than, any other team that's been winning any other league out there, then this is, it kind of seems trivial. But I think there are a whole lot of schools in the SEC that have to be looking at this and saying, what's this all about, and is this really going to be good for us? I mean, sure, it makes us more money in the long run, but how is this going to affect our competitiveness in the league and all that stuff? And I guess all those conversations have happened, but at the ultimate level, it probably is all about money. And there are two things that I think of. One is COVID from last year and the amount of money that all of these programs, not just the football programs, but the athletic departments lost because of, all of the money they had to spend on testing, not being able to sell all the tickets they normally would. And it's just a lot of money down the drain there. And on top of that, you've got the name, image, and likeness thing, which even though the schools aren't paying the players, a lot of this money is coming from people who used to donate it to the athletic department in one form or another. And so it's another way in which athletic departments are losing money. So it's really easy for me to see how, Greg Sankey and others in the SEC might look at this and say, well, hey, you know what? We could really use more money right now, and this is one way to get it.
So if I'm hearing you right, do you think we have arrived here maybe a touch quicker than we could have ultimately because of what happened last season?
Yeah, I think it was a confluence of events. Like I said, it was those two, the COVID last year, the NIL stuff this year, and I don't think that the announcement, if we want to call it that, of the 12-team playoff, which obviously is not official yet, but with that seeming to be the direction this is going, I think that is possibly another layer that made this tenable for Oklahoma and Texas, in that if there are 6 at-large teams, then you don't have to worry about winning the SEC. I mean, obviously, if you're coming from the Big 12, the question is, well, why would you do this? Because you're in prime position to win the Big 12 every single year, as Oklahoma pretty much has for, I think, 6 years in a row. Why would you come to a league where it's much tougher to win if you want to get in the playoff? And the answer is simple, which is that you don't even have to finish top 3 in the SEC to get in the playoff if there are 12 teams and 6 at-larges. And so I think that possibly played a part in it as well. We'll see. I think it's going to be interesting to see how this announcement and whatever other shuffling among teams and conferences takes place, how that ultimately affects this decision of the 12-team model and whether they still go in that direction.
At least out of ACC media days and some other reporting that some student athletes and even the Pac-12, the new Pac-12 commissioner, kind of grumbling at the 12 team. Do you think we may actually hit a brick wall with the 12-team playoff, or do you think it's going to happen?
Well, I mean, it's possible. I was very skeptical at first, and then it was kind of like when the SEC, taking Oklahoma and Texas report came out, I'm like, no, why would they do that? Well, actually, with Oklahoma and Texas, it wasn't so much why would the SEC want them or why would Oklahoma and Texas want to go, but I was just thinking to myself, there's no way this could happen. Like, it's just not going to get approval from everywhere that it needs to. And then over the next couple of days, it's kind of like, well, maybe this is real. And I thought the same thing when I heard 12-team playoff. I was like, why would they do that instead of going to 8? And then, a few more days of reporting, and it's like, this is legit. I don't know why. And so I still feel the same way. Like, I don't know what the benefit really is of expanding to 12 versus 8. I mean, you're essentially, to me, what this amounts to, what it comes down to, it's like when the basketball tournament went from 64 to 68. You're going to get 4 more teams that get to say that they played in the tournament. And they're not going to win it, but they get to be in it. And
Brad,
that's what this is all about.
Brad, everything is about money.
Yeah.
That's what it all is about.
Newsflash.
Yeah, newsflash. It's about money. It's more games, more money. Right? And now
you're right.
that's what the Texas, Oklahoma.
That is
more games. Yeah, more money for those schools. A lot more money, what I'm being told. A lot, significant amount of more money. And all the things you said are, I agree with. But so we interviewed Sankey 1 hour after this broke.
Last Wednesday.
Last Wednesday.
Yeah.
He was on our station, sitting right in front of us at Media Days. And I asked him 3 different ways the question, about Oklahoma and Texas, and he answered it 3 different ways. Basically, by the end, though, the way he answered, we knew it was a done deal. The one thing that I got out of that I didn't know, other than after asking and he didn't say no, but he wouldn't answer the question. But the way he didn't answer the question,
he didn't say hook 'em and boomer, but he almost
he almost did. Might as well have. So, but it's the fact that the 12-team playoff is not a done deal. And the way he talked, it's far from a done deal. And even then, it's not going to be in the next couple of years. There were still he said 2025. Is that what he said?
2025. Yeah.
So, I was surprised, but that's what I was surprised about the whole interview.
Yeah,
because the way it's being reported,
look at the way.
Yeah, it's a done deal, but I don't think it is.
You look at the way that it's constructed, where you have these 3-year cycles with the playoff, where each of those 6 bowl games, gets to host semifinals once, in a 3-year span. And we just finished I think it's the 7th year. So that means there are 2 more years. And then after the 2022 season, all those bowls will have hosted semis an equal number of times. And so that would be 9 years in. You could get out there, and it would, all be fair and equitable in theory. Or you can take it all the way to the end of the deal, which is 3 years later after the 2025 season. And so either one of those is an option, but this might be one of those where maybe they need more time to think about it.
Talking with Brad Edwards right now on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline, and I thoroughly enjoyed the videos, just the facts. I played one of them the last time that Alabama trailed in the 4th quarter. Played that one for Wes, and he actually punted to second and Kirby, or second and 26.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'm getting my Kirbys confused. It's 4th and Kirby.
Yeah, it's 4th and Kirby, and 2nd and 26.
Kirby probably gets those games mixed up. There were a lot of similarities.
Well, here's the thing, Brad. To beat, and I tell all these Georgia people, they act like they almost won all these games. You have to get first downs in the 4th quarter to beat somebody, a good team.
Well,
and they have 2 first downs. Well, no, they have 2 first downs. In all 3 fourth quarters.
They won the game, but there's a difference between almost winning and winning. And I think it's a pretty significant difference. And you can see it in the trophies that are in the Alabama football building. That's the difference between winning and almost winning.
It's called first downs in the 4th quarter. You got to win the 4th quarter.
No, hey, you're right, and that's why Alabama lost that championship game against Clemson at the end of the 2016 season.
No question.
they couldn't get first downs in the second half, and they had a lead and they couldn't hold it, and they had the best defense in the country, and they kept having to go back out on the field every 3 plays.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
and then some incredible plays on that last drive by all the Clemson plays. Unbelievable plays. I mean, just if you remember on 4th down to the tight end who made an incredible catch. He was a bad throw.
The one-handed catch, yeah.
Yes, I mean just a lot of things, and the refs did forget what a pick was. Okay, so Brad, I got a story to tell you though. Everybody thinks about Coach Saban and how prepared you are, this or that, and gotta give props to him. But on this case, my son was a defensive analyst on that team. And I said, Wesley, did y'all not work on the picks? He said, Dad, we didn't work on it all week. How to handle it. Because the way you do it, if you stick your hands out, they don't call a pick. But if you take the lick and fall down and not stick your hands out to avoid it, they'll call it. And they were picked from where to go. It's interesting.
Yeah. And that was also one of those. And I remember, as Lee Corso likes to say, I'm not second guessing, I'm first guessing, because I'm saying it before it happened. Right before that ball was snapped, I remember looking at the clock and thinking to myself, intentional pass interference here. You just grab the receivers, let a few more seconds roll off the clock. They'll mark it half the distance, and then Clemson has to make a decision. Are you going to go for the touchdown and the win, or are you going to kick the field goal and go to overtime? But it's so hard, even if the coaches are thinking that, it's so hard to communicate it. I don't know if they had any timeouts left at that stage, but that's something you'd see someone do in the NFL, but it's very rare you see someone in college, go in that direction strategically.
Well, I mentioned the videos, just the facts. Yeah, you're coming out with 50 of them. Could you have started this at 100 instead of 50, Brad?
Yeah, so that's the thing. I mentioned, or you mentioned earlier, that I have a book coming out, and the book is not really related to these questions, but in the process of putting together the book, I came across a few items that I thought were really interesting. There wasn't a place for them in the book itself, but I wrote them down. I was thinking at some point I want to get these out there because I think people would find them fascinating. And once I got about 8 of them, I was thinking, all right, you know what, maybe I could put together a series of trivia questions. And then it kind of occurred to me, okay, you know what, maybe I can work these together, which is that I can have trivia questions to help promote the book and just get people interested because it's Alabama football. And, by the way, if you like these questions, you're not going to see these questions in the book, but the same person wrote a book, and here you go. And so that's what started it, is that I had a number of things, and I just kind of, came up with general topics and like, okay, let's do something, about All-Americans, and let's do something about, certain streaks and awards, and things of that nature. And was able to come up with 50 of them. I think at the time when I stopped, I had 54, and I made a few cuts. But I don't know that I could have gone a whole lot deeper without getting completely trivial. You know what I mean? I'm going to ask what jersey someone wore for. That kind of stuff.
Brad, we are right up against it. I know we'd love to have you back on to talk more about the book, sir. Thank you so much.
We'll do it. You got it. Thanks, guys.
It may not require a textbook, but it's filled with valuable lessons. It may not take place in a classroom, but it's an ideal environment for learning. It may not involve a diploma, but it can help prepare Alabama's young people for life. It's high school sports. High school sports can play a critical role in a student's overall education. In fact, studies show that students that participate in high school sports are more likely to enjoy greater levels of achievement in their academic lives. If you think high school sports are only about competition, think again. Better yet, think about attending a high school sporting event in your community. You'll be amazed by what you see. High school sports, a winning part of a complete education. This message presented by the Alabama High School Athletic Association and the Alabama High School Athletic Directors and Coaches Association.
WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
I'm Doug Brown. Tonight's game between the Phillies and Nationals postponed after 4 Nats players and 8 coaches and staffers tested positive for COVID-19. Manager Dave Martinez says he believes 11 of the 12 were vaccinated. The 2 teams will play a doubleheader tomorrow. Baseball finals today, first of 2 in Boston for the Red Sox and Blue Jays.
Now the 3-2 pitch. Hit in the air to deep center field. This ball is up and gone over the wall in center field for Randall Grichuk. He stays back and clubs it to deep center field, his 19th home run of the season. And Randall has driven in all 3 Blue Jays runs.
The call on Sportsnet 590 The Fan. The Blue Jays win the opener 4-1. Coverage of the second game now underway on other ESPN radio outlets. Other finals today, the Indians beat the Cardinals 7-2. Franmil Reyes hits 2 home runs. The Tigers had all 9 players with at least 1 hit and at least 1 RBI in a 17-14 win over the Twins. No home runs for Detroit in that game. Jets rookie quarterback Zach Wilson is now the only unsigned first-round draft pick. He has not reported to camp. 49ers quarterback Trey Lance signed his deal today. He was the 3rd overall pick. The 2-time Stanley Cup champ Lightning signed center Braden Point to an 8-year contract extension worth $76 million. Among the free agent signings on day 1, the Devils signed defenseman Dougie Hamilton.
Hey, it's Greeny, and Thursday is a huge day for change. We've got the NBA draft at night. We've got the baseball trade deadline moving up on us, and we'll have it covered for you from every possible direction. Don't miss it. It's Greeny, starting 10 a.m. Eastern on ESPN Radio and ESPN+.
97.7 ESPN, The Zone. This hour is brought to you by Neighbors Wealth Management, located online at neighborswealthmanagement.com. Welcome to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline, 256-576-4977.
That's how I roll. And I'm not going to drink and drive anymore.
That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Wes and Steve.
Back here at Woody Anderson Ford, hour number 2 here on a Wednesday. Glad to have you along for the ride as we are in the showroom area here at Woody Anderson Ford, as a beautiful showroom right next to the service center. Be sure and get your car serviced if you happen to be coming back from those summer vacations to get ready for the kids to go back to school, or maybe if someone is heading off to school and may need a new vehicle right here, they'll hook you up at Woody Anderson Ford. Along with Wes Neighbors, Steve Moulton back here with you. Heard from Brad Edwards in hour number 1. If you missed that interview, you can head over to our website, 977ESPN.com. Later on here in hour number 2, a conversation Wes and I had with Chuck Oliver will air as we head into Braves baseball, as the Braves and Mets getting ready to square off in what is Game 4 of their 5-game set up at Citi Field, as the Braves were winners last night. 12-5 was that final there. Chad, are we good back there? Okay, all right. Mike Pitts is kind enough to join us right now. He was the 16th overall pick in the 1983 NFL Draft, and now is a part of the documentary that is coming out in the month of August, which is sneaking up on us with the Wishbone Boys documentary. Mike Pitts, how are you, sir? Good to have you back.
Hey, how you doing?
Doing real well. How are you, sir?
Doing good, doing great.
There is so many places to start. Let's start with what we're all witnessing, and that is the ever-changing landscape of college football. What do you think about Texas and Oklahoma coming to the SEC?
I think it's going to be great, but my biggest concern is what is that going to do to college football? Is it going to change the I'm quite sure it's going to change the landscape of, conference championships and what's going on with, championship play and bowl games.
And there may be some unintended consequences, because I'm also hearing about the potential of a semifinal game before the SEC championship game as well.
You heard that? There's no way they're going to do that.
You don't think so?
No,
yeah,
some guy wrote that.
That's a lot of football. Yeah.
So Mike, can you believe they're playing this many games in college? That's what I mean. I can understand the NFL guys because they're making a lot of money, but these guys,
right.
Well, they're playing more too.
And they're playing. Yeah, I get it, and they're getting paid more than they ever have. And college guys are going to get paid. I think you're going to have to pay them based on the money that they're going to get from what's going on. But the amount of games they're playing, I mean, you don't want to start as a freshman. You end up if you play for a good team, you play for 48 games in 3 years.
Yeah, because you're talking about going through a very tough SEC schedule and then having to play so many games, leading up to a championship game. I think that's a lot for a college player.
And that's been my whole thing, and we've talked about on the show in the last couple of weeks. So we interviewed Greg Sankey last week, Mike, and he basically said the one thing he did not, he just said that he wasn't going to comment on any rumors is what he said. In other words, he said, yes, they're coming. That's what I got out of the interview. But the other thing, we mentioned this earlier, is he kind of said that the 12-game playoff's not a done deal. And one of the things I didn't like about the 12-game playoff was that, if you lose the SEC championship game and you still make it, you're going to end up playing 17 games.
Yeah.
In 1 year. And I just was thinking back to when I was when I was in college, that's just too many.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot of wear and tear on a guy's body, and then these guys are prepping themselves. The ones that are NFL ready, they're prepping themselves for that. So you're going to have a lot of guys maybe refusing to play in so many games like that, leading up, with leading up to an NFL career. Guys thinking that they may get hurt. So you have to figure out that aspect of the game too.
So I'm interested to get your opinion. In case you're wondering, the listeners out there, I was a baby. I had a pacifier in my mouth when Mike was a senior, but we did cross paths, and I was the fattest linebacker in captivity, and so I would spend a lot of time around Mike, and his athletic ability was unbelievable. And I remember you hit a guy. I don't know if you remember this. We were doing a drill where you're supposed to take a side, and it was Coach Croom was the coach, and he was teaching us how to tackle at an angle. And Steve Hale and the linebackers and outside linebackers and inside linebackers together. So there were 20-something of us, and this freshman was somehow ended up over there. His name was Kelvin Welniak. He's a great guy. He was from Florida, never really panned out much, but he's a really good guy. He tried to run over you. Do you remember this? And you knocked him unconscious. He was sitting there with his arms straight out. You know how you go unconscious? And I'll never forget, the football was still on his chest, just rolling, rocking back and forth. Never left his chest. And I was thinking, what a DA that guy is. What is he thinking?
Well, that was back in the days when you actually practiced football.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we were getting after it. I mean, it was, we were just running around everywhere.
Yeah, we look forward to the games because those were easier than practice.
It was so easy. I mean, yeah. I mean, so who was Steve Hale your coach that last year? Who was your coach?
No, Sylvester Croom.
Okay, so Sylvester had all of us in, I guess.
Yeah. And it's funny, ironic, I talked to him yesterday. was, he called me out of the blue and was checking up on me. We touched base there, and we caught up, and because he had caught up with Robbie Jones actually, and we all were just he and I were just sitting there talking.
And of course, Robbie played for the Giants forever.
And
he was a guy that a lot of people don't talk about. Was a great football player.
Yeah, Robbie was excellent inside linebacker. Very smart guy.
Very smart guy, and just can run. But people kind of forget him because he was caught between you and then Thomas Boyd, all those guys.
And then we had a little short guy named Eddie Lowe.
Eddie Lowe. Eddie Lowe. You didn't want to get tackled by Eddie Lowe. I'd count.
No.
But not because he hit hard, because everybody hit hard. It's because he had these long fingernails and he'd lock up. He was like Dracula. Do you not remember those things?
Yeah. Eddie was like you say, he would bring the wood. And I mean, man, he was just a great guy. He really followed in the footsteps of his brother. He was a hard-nosed football player.
No question. Of course, he played in Canada for a long time. Now,
yeah,
Eddie,
he did.
Do you know that he showed up there? He walked on at Alabama. He was at UTC, and he did the transfer portal before the portal. And he transferred to Alabama, and he was in camp, and he was living in his car in the parking lot of Bryant Hall. Did you know this?
No, I didn't know that.
And Coach Bryant found out about it and had a fit, went crazy.
I remember when he walked on.
Yeah, but he quickly got a scholarship because he had fingernails like Dracula, and he would tackle you like Dracula would. He would explode into you.
He made himself known.
Yes, and he wouldn't. How tall would you think he was? 5'10", maybe 5'9".
Eddie, 5'10" is generous.
Yeah.
And I remember one game with Eddie, man. We were playing Mississippi State, and he hit a guy, and that's when Mississippi State wore those helmets that had the logo painted on the inside.
Yeah.
And he shattered this guy's helmet, man. I was like, oh my God. And the guy was just walking around, and we was like, dude, you got to get out the helmet, man.
So Eddie Lowe was about half the size of Woodrow Lowe, who was All-American, and one of the best players to ever play at Alabama was Woodrow Lowe. And everybody that played with him will tell you that. And remember, Coach Dye used to talk about him on the air about how good Woodrow Lowe was. Well, that Eddie was his brother, and he was just half the size. He was just as good.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. But that was, so, Sylvester was my coach, and then my son got a drink of water with him at the Titans.
Oh, okay. All
and
right.
he was up there, and he was a running back coach, and my son played fullback. And and Coach Kroom was his coach.
Oh, wow.
And he called him Wes the entire time he was there. And just would shake his head about how long, he coached. But Sylvester Kroom, I talk about Sylvester's was important in my life and important in the history of Alabama football for obvious reasons. But the guy that doesn't get enough credit, in my opinion, and we talk about on the show, is Sylvester's dad in integrating the university.
Pastor Kroom. Yeah.
Unbelievable man.
Yeah, he was a great man.
So, who recruited you, Mike?
Sylvester Kroom.
And so, did you get to meet his father during recruitment, or how'd that work?
No, I met his father actually when I signed and came to Alabama to school. And as a matter of fact, Sylvester and I, we were reminiscing yesterday, and we were actually talking about when he came up to Baltimore and for me to sign my scholarship, offer me a scholarship, and it was probably the worst snowstorm that the state of Maryland had ever seen. And we were like, and he had called us from the airport and said that he was on his way to our house, and we was like, there's no way he's going to make it to our home. And he made it and everything, and that's when he offered me a scholarship. And, he was like, And we was like shocked that he was trying to go, fly back to Tuscaloosa that night. And we was like, this is unbelievable. I mean, because it was a day when nothing in the state was moving. It was just that bad of a snowstorm.
Well, you know, when you get to sale, you get out of there. That's a rule. Don't give them time to change their mind or ask another question.
I know that.
Well, how fun is that y'all were talking? So where's Robbie?
Robbie, actually, he told me Robbie was up. I guess he was up in New York, and Robbie has moved to right outside of Montgomery. He didn't tell me what town it was, but he's now back in Alabama, right outside of Montgomery. And I heard his mother had some illness, and Robbie moved back home. Yeah.
Well,
so hopefully, I'm hoping to catch up with him at a game this season.
I did want to get a thought or two about being a part of the Wishbone Boys documentary, and I know this has been a long time coming, honestly. Hanging around AP Stenham, I know he's been at this project for, I think, near a decade, a little less, but I mean, I know this has been a long time coming.
Yeah. I believe it's been over 7 years now. He's been working on this project. And actually, it's going to detail, I guess, the history of the Wishbone and Wishbone at Alabama. I believe Coach Stallings is involved in the project, so it's going to be a great documentary, I hear.
So, at least from a defensive standpoint, practicing against that Wishbone, what was that like?
It was easy for us because at that time, just about every team in the SEC ran the Wishbone. So you was basically playing against yourself week after week, and but it was, you never really understood the scrimmages or anything like that because it was basically just 3 running plays, either right or left or up the middle. So you got in there, you got into the routine of it, and that's how you defended it. I mean, there was only one pass play out of the Wishbone. So I mean, but playing against it up front and everything, I mean, it was real football. It was real football because I mean, those guys were low and they were coming. And actually, my freshman year, I'm over on the other side of the ball against guys like Dwight Stevenson, Buddy Adelette, Jim Bunch, and those guys. And I mean, they were bringing it. And then you look in the backfield. You got Tony Nathan, Steve Whitman, Major Ogilvy. I mean, it was an eye-opening experience.
And Billy Jackson.
Yeah, Billy definitely.
Yeah, so Jim Bunch, I guess he started 4 years. He's from Virginia, right?
Mm-hmm.
But Bunch played tackle.
I'm not sure.
I think he's from Virginia. He played tackle. And he's not 6 foot.
No. But Jim was big and round, and I mean he was strong as a bull, man. I mean, but he was one of the guys. Jim was the guy that, I mean, he was low. There was no getting up under him. So when he came up underneath you was going for a ride.
He was from Mechanicsville, Virginia.
Yeah.
Yeah. So. But he was probably one of the best Wishbone tackles they ever had.
Yeah. He played very well, and when I look back at some of the old film and everything, I look at how those guys how they practice it. I mean, it was like a machine, and it was, if they try to play that type of football now and play the Wishbone now, I don't really see how any defenses the way these guys are prepped for a game now, how they could defend it.
Well, Citadel showed that a couple years ago. I think it was 10 to 10 at half.
Something about a 10 horn.
Yeah. No, that was Georgia Southern.
That was Georgia Southern.
That was Georgia Southern.
Yeah.
But you're right, because you practice it every day. It's different. But preparing for it is very hard.
It is. It really is. I mean, it's that ball could go in any direction, and like I say, it was only 3 runs, either right or left or up the middle, but it was very hard to defend.
So the other guy that was very undersized, first of all, Whitman wasn't undersized. Whitman was a heck of a player.
Yeah, Steve was a big guy. Yeah,
and he was. I guess he was my coach that year. When your senior year, he was a quote unquote coach, and I became good friends with him. He's actually been on our show also. But they, but Major Ogilvy was, and he's not a big guy. And my son ended up rooming with his son at Alabama, back when, in 09 through whenever. And I talked to Major a lot.
Yeah.
What made him such a good player? Was he that fast?
His speed. His speed to the outside. He was fast, and I mean, when his ability in the wishbone was his ability to get to the edge very fast. I mean, for a guy of his size, like you say, he wasn't very big, but he had the ability to get to the edge. He could make the outside runs in the wishbone, the pitch, and everything like that. I mean, he had great hands, and he was just a tremendous player.
Why do I get the feeling of your NFL head coaches, maybe Buddy Ryan, would he have embraced the wishbone more than any other of your head coaches? Because I'm thinking Parcells, maybe. Did you play for Henning with the Falcons?
Yeah, I played for Henning, Dan, yeah.
So, I'll go with Buddy Ryan. Am I right or wrong?
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Buddy would have took it to a whole nother level, trying to defend it.
But you've got Randall Cunningham as a quarterback, so I don't know how that would have played.
I don't think Randall would have did very well in the wishbone. I don't think that was his cup of tea. But I know Buddy trying to defend it. Yeah. And then if he got frustrated with it, probably put out another bounty bowl or something like that on it.
So did you know that Randall Cunningham was Sam Cunningham's brother?
Yeah, I did know that. Yeah.
I remember when I first found out. We had Sam on.
Yeah.
He was awesome. So who was the guy in the NFL that helped you the most, would you say?
I would say, oh, wow, Dan Suskanovich, my defensive line coach here when I was in Atlanta. I mean, he was taking I had never played down in college. And he took me, and I really couldn't get in a three-point stance. I had no idea how to get in a three-point stance because at Alabama, defensive ends, outside linebackers, we stood up. And he took me, and he really helped me develop my NFL game and how to take practice more serious than treat it like a business more than college. And that's what really helped me in the NFL.
Interesting.
Well, everybody has to have somebody, right, that takes them under their wing.
But I was a tall, skinny kid, and then I couldn't stop eating, so I ate my way to the inside.
You grew into your head.
Yeah. So, and then
now, Mike had a big head. I used to like to stand beside you. You made me feel better because I had a big head too.
I do. And when I got up to Philadelphia, you had Reggie White at defensive end. You had Clyde Simmons at the other end. So really, the only spot was me. I enjoyed being between Jerome Brown and Reggie White. Really helped my career out. So I can say I did well when I got to Philly.
I can only imagine those conversations along the defensive line before a ball is snapped. I can't, especially with Jerome Brown next to you. I've only heard stories, but I can't imagine.
I became friends with Jerome Brown in the Japan Bowl. We went to the Japan Bowl, yes.
Yeah, he's a great guy, man.
He really was a really good guy and a leader. He was a leader.
Yeah.
And, of course, the preacher was too. But, I played against the preacher when I was a freshman. He was preaching, but the language he was using is a little different than most of my preachers that I ever had talk to me.
I remember we were playing the Washington Redskins one game, and Reggie he was always concerned about his knees. Don't ever try to cut him because, he go crazy.
Yeah.
And somebody cut him in the game, and it was like he was possessed. He just took over the game. And I was like, oh, my goodness, this guy's going to kill somebody out here.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
Except we kept doing it. It didn't matter. Anyway, he was a heck of a player. He was unbelievable.
Yeah.
He's the only person in my short time that ever picked me, but played against some pretty good people, ever picked me up off my feet. I mean, I was in the air. He's about to hump move me. And God put me back down. It wasn't me. It was God. It was the only thing that could have stopped it.
Yeah,
it was unbelievable. He could pick people up.
Yeah, that was an incredible. And you know what really fascinates me is the guy hardly lifts weights. It was just a natural. It was his natural strength and ability. I mean, with to see Reggie in a weight room was like, it was just so far and few in between. And he just had that ability. He had the knack to and technique to pick people up like that.
It's unbelievable. And he just got better at it the more he played. He pretty much in the Super Bowl that they won, he controlled that game at the end where they didn't have a prayer to keep back in the game because of Reggie White.
Yeah, and I felt sorry for because I played with the guy when I was up in New England. The guy Max Lane that Reggie was doing the hump move and all that. He destroyed that guy.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, wow, man. And Max is probably 6'7", 6'8" in
Big
height,
dude.
and Reggie just dominated. I was like, I'd never seen anything like it.
What I likened it to is when a lion gets close to red meat, here at his fourth quarter of that game, and all he had to do was eat, and they get a Super Bowl trophy. That's what it looked like.
Yeah,
he saw the end of the end of the tunnel.
Yeah. And Drew Bledsoe would tell you that he was the only thing he was concerned about that game was where Reggie White was. I think that was that game. He didn't complete that many passes because his eyes was on Reggie White the whole time.
Yeah. And overall, the other question that I did have for you, Mike, was about 17 regular season games in the National Football League. What do you think that is going to do overall? Just the length of the season now being extended and shortening up the preseason by a game as well.
I think it's going to be good for the fans. I know the fans will enjoy it, but you have to think about these guys that are trying to make the football team and needed those preseason games to show that they could be NFL players. I think from a standpoint of players, from that perspective, it's shortening their opportunity. Now it's when you're in there, you got to produce right away. There's no learning curve or anything like that. You don't have this extra game to play. You don't have extra practices. So it's pretty much when they hit training camp, they're preparing for the season. It's not anything where you're waiting on guys to learn plays or come up to par with their play. You got to hit it right now.
And you think about it, they're already down half the practices because there's no 2 days anymore.
Yep.
Right. So so you're asking guys to go out there. They're practicing in shorts
and to beat somebody else.
In shells and everything. Then you're going to throw them in a game and you expect for them to show you what they can do. I think that's why. And to me, the game is kind of getting watered down a little bit. Some of these calls that are being made now about the hitting, the targeting, roughing the passer.
Yeah, I get though when you launch at somebody and all that. I get that trying to protect, but this falling on them, you can't hit them here, you can't hit them there, and then if you fall on them wrong, you can tell when somebody's trying to hurt somebody. There ought to be another official that just pushes a button. You can tell.
You're right.
I've offered to do that too, Mike, and they hadn't taken me up on it yet. I'd like to be the guy in my easy chair and just push a button. Hey, he was trying to hurt him there, and that's a penalty.
Yeah, well, they probably need that.
Yeah.
But, when you're trying to tackle a running back and he's coming at you full speed, your natural instinct is to duck your head or use your helmet in some way to absorb. And
if you use your chest, you're gonna be seeing. You'll be looking up at them going the other way.
Exactly. If you're coming in there trying to tackle a guy with your chest, you're getting run over. That's just the bottom line.
Well, how do you get Cam Newton down without falling on him?
Right. And I mean, he's about as big as defensive lineman now.
Oh, no question.
Or Ben Roethlisberger. I mean,
Ben Roethlisberger. Right.
Yeah.
He looks like Andre the Giant out there now. He gets any bigger.
Yeah. And that's why they're putting so much emphasis on sacks right now. And you got guys who are back when we played with, guys leading team with 100 and something tackles. Now guys are leading teams with 60 tackles. I mean, a season. I mean, that's ridiculous. I had never heard of anything like that. I can remember Jerome Brown finishing the season one year with 126 tackles.
That's crazy.
And and now you got guys, finishing with 60 tackles, 66 tackles, and now they want $30 million. It's crazy.
Well, you see, you saw Jonathan Allen sign for $74 million. Got $30 million up front. Good for him.
Yeah. I can remember when I came in the league, the whole team salary
didn't make
was
that
$30
much.
million.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, yeah.
Anyway, but you look at football now, and I can't watch it when they start throwing he fell on the quarterback wrong. I mean, and I get it if he's trying to hurt him, but I mean, he just fell on him wrong. That throw flag. I'm like, I'm out.
Right.
I can't watch it.
Yeah.
It seems like a lot of that goes away though during the playoffs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I rarely watch an NFL game. I'm more into college football because
also.
there's still some type of semblance to the way the game was played in the past. Now with the NFL, I can't keep up with anything. It's I mean, you go by and you're trying to knock the ball down as the quarterback is coming forward, and you accidentally hit his face mask, and that's roughing the passer. I'm like, really?
Oh, hit his helmet.
Crazy.
Yeah, you're trying to knock him out. That's why they need my big ass in the easy chair with a button. It'd be a lot more effective. That's the easy chair button. Just
pick it up. That wasn't a penalty.
Yeah, that wasn't a penalty. Yeah, you'd be able to shock the white hat, right? To give him a shock collar.
Yeah.
He'd be over here laying on the ground. When
I'll alert Steve Shaw and let him know that you want to implement the shock collar. I'm sure he'd be all for that.
Yeah.
Mike, really appreciate the time, sir. Always enjoy our visits.
Yes, great talking to you, Mike.
We're going to make them more frequent. We always really enjoy our conversations with you, sir.
I appreciate it. Anytime.
That is Mike Pitts joining us as he played, let's see here, he played from 83 to 94.
He killed Kevin Welniak. That's all I remember. I mean, it wasn't his fault either. He wasn't, the guy just tried to run over him. Your natural reaction, as he just told you, is he didn't duck his head, though. He put it right under his mouth. I just couldn't get over the ball landing on his chest and just rolling as they're hollering trainer.
With the ball just cradling.
I forgot Sylvester had all the linebackers. There were a lot of us.
We do need to take our first time out here in hour number 2.
In a fat center.
Conversation with Chuck Oliver will come up on the other side as we're live here at Woody Anderson Ford.
Log on today, 97.7 ESPN.